Alrighty, so let's look at our part two of our Bootstrap. I just finished coding, kind of like what I did on the first one where I coded through it. I went through and modified the commits. I changed actually how much we're going to do. We're not going to do all the way to the end, although I would definitely say it's a good thing to check out. So here's the items that I will look for, and here's going to be the key, is that they need to be functional and have most of the classes that Web Dev Simplified shows. And I want you to have them on one page. So ultimately, what you're going to end up having here, and this is part two, this is the last thing you do, which is navbar modals. So they have to work. Okay, have to have a close. Dismisses, these are cards. Okay, now I'm going to talk to you about how to get that background because he shows it a little different. And then buttons, right? And then here's the part one stuff. So have it all on one. And like I showed before, the way I made this easier for myself was I just coded, and I'll show you my setup here, is I just coded the individual items in a different HTML. You don't have to. I just found it a little easier to kind of focus, but ultimately they all have to end up over on the index.html. You do have a few notes to take along the way here as well. And what I will look for is, do you have all those components? Do those commits match up with those? Okay, so if we go down and look at these commits, and this actually means feature here. Okay, so you're doing the buttons, the alerts, again, modal. Now, I did skip collapse and I did skip the content after nav, but you definitely could review these. And it might be something you would want to do once we get into the template. Now, I did, and this is something I didn't mention on part one, is I did put a little utility content at the bottom. Well, sorry, just a little quick reference, and it's got some of the stuff we didn't cover, right, which was the spacing, but we did cover some of this, like when you cover primary, secondary. So when you use these classes, this is the color generally that you're going to get out. And in this case, we didn't cover breakpoints. Okay, well, we kind of did, but we actually didn't specifically cover Flexbox, but we definitely covered the way the page outputs. Now, and this is where if I came down here, right, I should see. Why am I not seeing? I'm just wondering why I'm not seeing. Oh, it's up here at the top. That's why, right? So these are the breakpoints that WebDev gave us just in that style sheet itself. So let me talk about this because in this case, let me show you this in the output. Let me scroll up. He'll actually show when he gets to hold on, let me get there. Oh yeah, so it's actually on the card itself. He'll show a file that we don't have, but this is a good time to talk about. There's this great website, and I've given you a link in the instruction here. Let me scroll back up and show you. Okay, so if I open that in a new tab, it comes to here. And what you can do is scroll through here and grab one of the ones you would want. You could copy it. And then in that source, when you do that image, and you might want to refer to this as well later, you could just paste that in there. Okay, you could do that as well. So if I went and looked at my output right now, right here, then I would see that modal that we call placeholder, very common to use, and you may see them in your templates. So I just want you to know how you could use them as well. So definitely one of the things that helped me was, and actually this is something I think I didn't talk about. So let me show you one of the techniques I used, which sometimes it's very common for me to speed things up. Actually, I slowed him down. So one of the things is keyboard shortcuts. You can actually use your left and right button on your keyboard to actually go 5 seconds and 10 seconds. I'm hearing him in my ear. And then the other thing I did while I was doing this, I slowed him down a little bit because he talks really, really fast. Okay. So again, the thing I'm going to say about this is what's so important is, of course, you get introduced to these classes and also that you look at your output. That's make sure you've done what you needed to do coding along to create functional output. And it can be and this is where learning how to debug, stopping and looking at what is there and what is needed, and making sure your output does actually produce whatever that component. In this case, we're working mostly on components. Okay, so now for me, it's on to thinking about what are we going to do with this. I know what we're going to do next week. We're going to actually get a template, but this week, what shall we do to have fun with some of this new stuff that we've learned? Okay, talk to you later.